And this one that I want to talk about today is what Nicolo's Pizza or the U.S. Navy calls a box breath, and what Mr. Iyengar might call a samavriti, equal parts breath. And it was a couple months ago. I was sitting on my butt, nursing my Achilles, probably crying a little bit inside that I couldn't do anything. You do that, Greg? Poor me, right? I'm sitting there, poor me, and all over the place. And I see on Instagram, on the Nicolo's story, subscribe to it. They put some good stuff there. Never know where you're going to find inspiration, right? Megan, I assume, put up this post about how the Navy SEALs do what they call a box breath 3 times a day for 5 minutes to exponentially reduce stress. And like you, I believe everything I see on the internet, so I didn't go chase down that fact or challenge it in any way. I just started playing with the breath, because what Iyengar said in the Light on Pranayama, it's like the first sentence in the book, is you should master samavriti breathing, equal parts breathing, or the Navy SEAL Nicolo's Pizza box breath, before you fuck with any other pranayamas. That's what he says. He says fuck with. Direct quote. See, Greg's already fucking with something else. But he says don't do any others before you've mastered equal parts breathing. And that's a big word. Master. 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 Master and puppets is pulling your strings. Metallic fans in the back.
I saw that concert. Saw the concert for that album.
And so I've been working with this for a few months, a few times a day, 5 to 10 minutes at a time. And I'm nowhere near mastering it. But the nuances that emerge are really surprising when we think about how many breaths we take in a day. 21,500, just save us all the math. It's about 20,000 and change, whether you take 12 breaths a minute or 20. Somewhere in that average gets us to that number. Most of them unconscious. And when we start engaging them deliberately, the awareness that comes with it is really, to me, what's really rich and special about it. It's not just that, some mystical power that can come with controlling that life force in the breath, which can happen, but really just about like this really simple enjoyment. Do it. Do it again, deeper. A little more, even deeper. Doesn't that just tickle something? Nod if you hear me. It just tickles a little something just really nice. From 3 breaths. And how many times did you do that yesterday? Be honest.
0.
0. Because you're fucking busy. You're a mom and a small business owner. Come to Nicolo's if I haven't mentioned it enough, or thank him enough for having us. Love this place. Best meatballs, best Alfredo in a restaurant. There, I said it. But just to think along the lines of creating a distinct practice for your pranayama, and I loved this because it was only 5 minutes. I prefer to practice pranayama in a chair that has arms. And if I'm being entirely honest, a thing for my feet. Essentially an easy chair, like a lazy boy. It's like the best, that or a warm bath. It's like the best place for practicing pranayama. Mostly because it gives your arms a very neutral amount of support. And there's no even subtle restriction of this lateral movement of the ribs, so that the lungs just have an ability to fill more evenly, more easily, etc. So when you do this at home or in the office, even an office chair, anything with arms works pretty well. That's where I encourage you to do it. And see if you can carve out 5 minutes and drop this breath in, because I think you'll notice some of the same sensitivities and enjoyments that we just got from those 3 breaths from this little practice. And this one's also neat because you can do it without anyone knowing you're doing it. Line at the DMV, sitting with your in-laws, talking to a customer on the phone. Like once you gain like what you might call a functional mastery or a functional proficiency, you can do it while you're doing other stuff, right? You're going to notice maybe when we get into the actual breath that there's times where you feel like you're out of breath, but you're not, right? And you might notice times where you wonder, which one am I supposed to be doing? Inhaling, holding, or exhaling and holding? And your mind will think that thought. I know because my mind's thought that thought. But the answer is really easy, because when you just open your mouth, the breath's either going to go out or come in. Yeah? But it'll be interesting to see what comes up for us as we move into it. I like to practice pranayama with a little bit of water and trash can there for spitting, because my sinuses will discharge usually. Obviously, we don't know how to have a spitter today, so keep it to yourself. Now, the way this is usually taught is with a count, and sort of the average comfortable count is 4, 4, 4, 4. It doesn't matter, and I'm not going to count it for you when we do the practice, because all that matters is your 4 count, or your 5 count, or your 3 or your 6 count. Remains even, at least initially. The box itself is a construct that's meant to illustrate the concept, and the concept is equanimity and balance. A strong box has to be even on all 4 sides, but what I've noticed in playing with this breath is that my box isn't even on all 4 sides. To feel even, I need a longer exhale and exhale hold. So I'm in a 4, 4, 5, 5-ish. Or in a place of not counting and just feeling, what does it feel like? Does it feel equal to the hold out as the hold in? Am I drawing the same volume of air in as I'm letting go on the breath out? That took me months. We're not going to get there today. We're going to learn the techniques so that you can play with this and at least calm yourself down exponentially, like the Navy SEALs do if you want to drop it in to your life. And so let's practice just to find our count first. So you can start with a 4, and what you do is inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold. Out. Hold. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold. Out. Hold. And do a couple rounds on your own, playing perhaps with the lengths of your inhales and holds, maybe experiencing a 5, 5, 5, or maybe trying out a 3, 3, 3, 3, depending on the size of your lungs. Take your time finishing the round that you're on, ending on an exhale. Once you have, take a normal breath in and let it go. Initial reactions or thoughts or questions?
I have a question about holding your breath.
Yes.
Because for me to hold my breath, the same count doesn't
Say, be more specific if you
the
can,
body
doesn't work.
tenses on it.
Of course it tenses. It's not used to holding. Even how many times did you hold your breath yesterday?
On purpose, 0.
0. 0 is most often going to be the average answer, right? So when we start to mess and deliberately shape the pranayama, we start to poke the prana. We start to poke the subconscious in the body. And that's really interesting to me, to feel those little reactions, because all you're doing is holding your breath for 4 seconds. Anyone on the planet can do that, yes? Unless you've caught just a little rhythm off. Did anyone else experience this? Yeah, you just caught the little rhythm was off, and you're thinking, I'm out of breath. I can't hold this, right? Rationally, false. That's what's cool about poking the subconscious, is we can start to see that false barking voice barking at us really loud. In 4 seconds is all it took to feel that lying to us, essentially, saying we can't hold this breath, to some extent that we heard it or felt it, right? Isn't that fascinating? Fun. That's a big part of the pranayama practice. Poking the subconscious, and when you come to that level of proficiency, soothing it. That's the real sweet spot. You get to that proficient spot, is instead of that tension that comes up, is you're going to find the ability to let that tension go. If you stick with it long enough, I promise you. Other comments or questions? Anyone find the count? Their count was other than 4? We're all at 4. Anyone other than 4? 5?
3.
3 and 5 back there. And nothing at all wrong with that.
Simply because of the holding and the exhale.
Could be
I'm a
the-
smoker, so I can suck in for 10, but I can't hold it for 2.
It could be the duration you're counting. What does green look like to you, Greg?
Right.
I don't fucking know. Same as your 3 count, silent count. What matters is trying to, exactly like you did, is find that place of balance, of equality, right? That means if you have an injury, I don't know, in your right leg, let's say, you don't go to the gym and continue to do leg presses with the left leg. You wait until the right leg can move again, and then you bump the good leg all the way down to the weight that the weaker leg can hold, right? And that's how you build it back up. I'd be curious if you do drop this in to see, what that would do to your lung capacity over time. Interesting. Any other comments or questions?
If I'm trying to ease myself into bedtime, this is part of my bedtime routine. I do it 8 counts in, 8 counts out, and it's at a slower pace so I'm breathing in at a slower rate, and that has taken time to build up to, but it is helpful.
And it's also, thank you, Megan. It's a fantastic comment on the nature of the term samavritti, right? Not only is my 4 and 5 count out of balance, actually in balance, but there's so many ways to practice an equal parts breath. It can be 2 in, 2 out, 2, 2, 2, 2. It can be 8 and 8. It can be 6 and 6. It can be only holds. You can play with this the same way you work with a bench press in the gym to get different results. 10 sets of 10, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. You get it, right? So this is but one way to practice an equal parts breath. It's a good caveat. All right, we're going to do 5 minutes of this. I'm going to start us out, but then I'm going to practice with you. Let's begin with just a normal round of breath in and out. And we'll get started. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. And hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in and continue on your own pace. Finish the round of breath you're on, ending on an exhale. Draw in a normal breath in and let it go. Thanks so much for practicing with us today, Outlaws. I hope you try this breath and drop it into your life throughout your day to day. Let us know how it serves you, and come back and join us for the second part of this workshop. We'll see you real soon on the mat or off. Namaste.